Yo, what is going on, guys? So on today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at some women over the age of 30 who are out here struggling to date. And we're going to be kicking it off with this 30-plus-year-old woman who is crying. She's in tears. She's upset because she is worried that she will not find her Prince Charming. And guys, spoiler alert, a lot of the women in this video will never find their Prince Charming. So let's jump in. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments.
Today I'm defeated. Defeated of the feeling of never being enough, of feeling like I'm not the lucky one that gets to find love, and feeling unworthy of love. And if you are too, it's okay.
You gotta love how every time what they do is they set up their camera in their car and they sit there, they put on some fake tears, and they talk about how unlucky they are and that they never found their Prince Charming. Let me put it to you this way, guys. A lot of these women have already met their Prince Charming. They've either divorced him, they've ignored him, or they've cheated on him. Women do not get to the age of 30 plus without coming across their Prince Charming. But what they do, guys, is they always think that they're better than their Prince Charming, and so then they leave them, and then you're in this loop of perpetuity where they just continue to try and date men until they're 60, still thinking that their Prince Charming is going to be around the corner. It's hilarious.
Someone that loves you will not cheat on you, physically or emotionally. I don't care if it was even once. There is no such thing as an oops, my dick accidentally wound up in her vag, or an oops, I accidentally straddled his dick. There is no such thing as an oops, sorry, I accidentally messaged her telling her I think she's hot and would love to meet up. There is no such thing as an accidental oops, are you up text. Now, assuming you're in a monogamous relationship and assuming that these things were done consensually, of course, these things were done intentionally. There's no accident involved. This person made the decision consciously, knowing that they are in an exclusive relationship with you, knowing what an exclusive relationship entails and requires, knowing full well that some of the most important aspects of an exclusive monogamous relationship are trust, honesty, loyalty. This person made the decision to violate all that and take a risk. They were willing to risk all of that and willing to risk everything that they have with you over some potential thing that maybe for a split second may have seemed better or exciting.
You know what, guys? Although I agree with this woman, I just find it funny how women over the age of 30, they're always shocked when they're dating men who cheat on them or who step out on them and things like this. Because let me just be perfectly clear about this. I think that the women know who the bad boys are. They know who, when they're shooting out of their league, they know when the man is not that interested. But what they end up doing is they chase men who are not interested. They try and get a relationship out of a guy. They have to push a man for a relationship. They know that the dude's out of their league. Then they get cheated on, and it's like a giant shocking thing to them. This is like equivalent of a dude going out here, dating random women that he finds at the club, and then being like, oh, she cheated on me. She went out to the club and she hooked up with some guy. It was always going to happen. I'm not saying that that's the right thing, obviously. It's scum behavior, but it's just funny to me how women will complain about bad boys until well into their 40s. This woman's in her 30s sitting here talking about honesty and loyalty. But let's be honest, guys, you can spot the disloyal men. You can spot the guys who are the bad boys. I think that these women voluntarily chase bad boys.
Better or exciting. The only reasons they took that risk are because they wanted to have their cake and eat it too, and because they figured you wouldn't find out. Those things indicate selfish behavior as well as dishonesty. Both of those things are not qualities you want in a partner. Both of those things do not indicate somebody truly loves you and wants to be with you. Now, I won't sit here and tell you those kind of people can't change. I won't even sit here and tell you that you should walk away from that relationship, because I'm going to leave that to you. You're capable of making your own decisions. But what I am going to tell you is that somebody that does that to you doesn't love you at that time, in that moment, does not respect you, and don't ever let them convince you otherwise. I don't care if alcohol was involved. I don't care if the other person was all over them and they couldn't resist. Bullshit. When someone truly loves you, they won't do that to you.
Again, guys, just to play a little bit of devil's advocate here before we continue into the next clip, I want to say I do agree with this woman. There's absolutely no excuse for this garbage. But again, I do find it funny when the people who sit here and try and complain about trust and loyalty and all of these sorts of things. Number one, you can't even trust what they look like. This woman's got a filter on. She's got a makeup on top of the filter, I believe. She's got fake nails. These are people who will sit here and be like, man, all of these men are deceiving me. And they've got like 35 pounds of makeup on their face. I think that makes sense to me. Guys, again, for the denser people, perhaps we've got some male womanists who hate watching this channel. Obviously, cheating is not the correct thing to do, right? I'm just here to point out that it's very ironic that the same people that will complain about things like equality or honesty or whatever the case may be, oftentimes lack the values that they talk about themselves. Very funny to me. But let's continue on to the next clip.
Whether I'm dating someone or not at the moment, I made the decision a long time ago that I would not share details about my personal life on my Instagram. But I did an interview with Stylist Magazine the other day about my experience with elite dating apps. I wanted to share it out, not really thinking that there is an intersection and overlap with my dating life that I was also giving information about through this interview.
Are you dense? If you go on an interview and you're talking about your dating experiences on dating apps, obviously you are talking about your dating life. Guys, women will always pull this crap, I swear to you. They'll be like, I'm not looking for attention, but I went on some interview talking about my love life, right? Or I'm not looking for attention, but I record TikToks of myself all day talking about the relationship experiences that I have or you don't have. And then they try and claim that it's not for attention and that they're not trying to tell details about their life to strangers. Yes, you are. The fact that this video even exists tells me that you are trying to tell your life to strangers.
About through this interview. Tell me why I have no problem sharing the details of my dates and my dating experiences through a dating series on TikTok, but I cannot do the same on Instagram. It just feels so personal and so open for judgment. Personally, I think it's because there are more followers on my Instagram that I know in real life. Like, there's people from work, there's people from my childhood, from high school, from college, and there's not as many followers that I know here on TikTok. Also so annoying, but my followers on Instagram, the ones that know me especially, are just more nosy. They are the ones that every time I take a picture or a photo and post it on my Instagram story where I'm with another guy who's just a friend, they will come into my DMs and do the eye emoji and be like, who's that? Who's this new person? And I'm like,
let me just pause it here. I think that myself and many other men included, we're just done with the nonsense of hearing he's just a friend. This woman is complaining about posting public photos with a random man, and then complaining that people are commenting on a public photo that you put up. Guys, please tell me the logic in this. So this is the same kind of logic as women who claim that they're getting dressed up and they're going out to the club and they're doing it for themselves. Let's be intelligent about this. These women, they're not doing it for themselves. They're not doing it for the memories or any of this crap. They're doing it for attention and validation from strangers. Guys, if you post, right, that would be like me, right? I post this video. And then some male womanist will come into the comments and be like, this video is really mean. You'll start losing his marbles in the comments. And I'll be like, I'm just so shocked and appalled that people comment on my public video. You know what I mean? People will comment on whatever you put on the damn internet. It's the internet. Are you new here? Right? Clearly she's not. She releases full-blown video series talking about dating experience and things like this. But you could put up photos of dogs. People are going to comment on the dogs. So enough of this nonsense of, oh, I post things publicly for myself and, oh, he's just a friend. A year is 2024. This crap is real damn old. Adult women still out here trying to manipulate people. Crazy stuff.
DMs and do the eye emoji and be like, who's that? Who's this new person? And I'm like, stop. This is just why I will never post about another guy on my Instagram. Oh, I wonder if anyone else can relate to this. I'm in my 30s and I'm single and dating, but I'm also very content with my life. But somehow I feel like media or the world has made people feel in their 30s that it is embarrassing or shameful to be single at this age. And I hate that.
Of course you don't like that, because you are a 30-plus-year-old woman who is still single and still dating. The reason you don't like that is because you meet that criteria. Guys, women 30-plus years of age still out there, like, still says that she's dating. So it is embarrassing. It is shameful. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, Taylor, I make this point because every time somebody will be like, well, what about the men, right? You always see these same women will pull the same card. Well, it's embarrassing for women to be dating in their 30s. Why isn't it embarrassing for men to be dating in their 30s? because oftentimes it takes men until their 30s to become even attractive or viable options to women, right? Most dudes are completely overlooked for the majority of their life, if not their entire life. If they're not genetically gifted, they have to actually work to get attention from the other gender. Dudes have to spend a long time building up their finances, or they have to spend a long time in the gym, things like this. Women, the moment they are 18, guys, they can get relationships. It's really not that damn difficult. So yes, it is embarrassing and it is shameful to be a woman who is dating at the age of 30, because it begs the question, what the hell have you been doing this entire time? Let's continue.
I recently told a friend about how I went on a date with someone in their 40s, and one of the first things that this friend said to me was, "Oh, why is he single? He seems like such a catch. There must be something wrong." And I thought, why is that the first reaction we have to these things? Why can't we just accept the fact that like someone was working on their career during this time or focusing on other priorities and not dating? And I really want to change the narrative about this, because I am not embarrassed and I'm not ashamed to be single. I love my life and I'm in a much better place to date now in my 30s than I was in my 20s. But after I posted that piece on my Instagram stories, I was feeling super self-conscious, wondering if the people in my life were wondering, why does she pay to be on dating apps? Or why is she still single? Why can't she find a man? It made me feel so weirdly insecure that I almost thought I had to provide context as to like what my dating history has been for the last 10 years.
Even if you did provide your dating history for the last 10 years, it wouldn't help. Because the fact is that you have a dating history spanning over the last 10 years. If you're a woman and you want to have marriage, you want to have kids, you want to have the white picket fence, whatever the case may be, nobody is stopping you from doing this except your own standards. If you are sitting here and you're saying, well, I'm still 30 plus and I'm single and I pay for dating applications as a woman, you are very incredibly lost. Okay? Because you can go out there and you can get a man and you could have a relationship with him, but he's not the man that you want because you feel like you deserve better. If you don't believe what I'm saying, guys, please, again, go and watch. Hell, I wish we had like a video clip of this woman swiping on dating applications. I would be able to tell you immediately that she is shooting out of her price range, because what these women do is they get on these apps and they choose the guys who look, just ripped, or have really high quality photos and all of this stuff, dudes who play the game, who are not interested in a relationship. Okay? The dudes who are getting swipes on Tinder and, and what all of these other applications, they're men. Guys, let me give you some examples, okay? There's dudes like Austin Dunham out there, right? There's dudes like Mike Thurston, fitness influencers, okay? People who have clout, people who have been in the gym for over a decade, and they go on there and they take high quality photos and, they've got the beard going, they've got absolutely everything. And all of these women are swiping on the same group of men. And then they're complaining that they can't get relationships and that they're still dating at 30. Of course, you're still dating at 30. Your standards are absolutely ridiculous. And these women, they will sit here and they'll say, well, my standards aren't ridiculous. I just want a date. I just want a man to treat me with the bare minimum. Yeah, you want the highly attractive guy to give you the bare minimum. You don't care about the guy who earns less money and who is shorter, right? You don't care about how he would treat you. You care about how the very attractive men would treat you. That's the difference.
Just an interesting observation, because I feel like I never have to do that in my TikTok series, but somehow Instagram makes me feel that sort of way.
You know why, by the way, this woman feels a difference between her Instagram audience and her TikTok audience is because although both platforms are really quite censored, TikTok audiences are way more on the woman's side of things, way more, completely going to take her side. If you post this crap to Instagram, half the time as a woman these days, now you're starting to get roasted, right? Because people realizing that you're just spewing nonsense and you shouldn't be dating in your 30s. Instagram comments these days, guys, can be absolutely brutal, okay? But you go and, you go and criticize a woman on TikTok and you're instantly banned. That's why this woman feels so much safer over there, is because the chats and the comments and things like this, they're more moderated over on TikTok, and people will take a stupid side because you can't criticize a woman on there. That's why.
TikTok series, but somehow Instagram makes me feel that sort of way.
Dating advice for women. This video is the top tips that I learned from dating research. These tips allowed me to enjoy dating again rather than finding it very depressing. And eventually attract love. And take note that I said attract, not find. Tip number 1. You attract who you are, not what you want. I'll say that again. You attract who you are, not what you want. That means if you're looking for a happily ever after right now and someone to come and make you happy and you are not currently happy right now, then it ain't gonna happen. It feels cliche, you might not like to hear it, but it's true.
You know what's amazing to me, guys, is the fact that just anyone can jump on the internet and become like a dating coach, you know? And they're out here, they're like, I don't know if this woman has a course or not, but it's just funny because you can have a woman who's like 40 plus years of age. She's never been able to keep a relationship in her entire life, right? Well, and what I mean by that is she's unmarried or she can't keep the marriage going. And then they jump on TikTok and then they become like dating coaches and things like this, giving advice to other women. Guys, again, this is the equivalent of somebody who is homeless, who doesn't know where they're going to get their next meal from, and they're trying to sit here and give, you know, other people financial advice. This is what I think of when you have these women who have been unsuccessful in dating, and then they get to 40, and then they get a guy, and like, let's cut the nonsense, okay? You can get a guy at 40. That doesn't mean that you did the right thing, right? That doesn't mean that you played your cards right, or that you give good advice or anything like this. But you have these women who are 40 plus years of age, and then they finally get their provider guy that they can, you know, quote unquote, settle with, and then they talk about their relationship advice. Like, get out of here.
You have to change how you feel about yourself to attract a better man in. This means stop putting yourself down, stop moaning, and start doing things that you enjoy and make you happy. Tip number 2, what are you looking for? What are your, like, you know, at the forefront of your mind when you're dating? Do you have a list that says he needs to be 6'2", he needs to have dark hair, he needs to have a beard, he must have blue eyes, he's not allowed to wear glasses? Where is your focus at? Because tip number 2 is don't focus on those things. Focus on how the man makes you feel.
We were so close to giving some good advice there, weren't we, guys? You know, don't focus on the superficial things, but instead we need to focus on our feelings. She was so close, guys. She was so close, okay? Here's the thing. Women will always have their invisible list of things that they will and won't accept. This is why women in their 30s are still out there single and dating. You know, don't get it twisted, okay? They could date that short guy, but they won't. And they would rather be single, they would rather be going out there still having their fun on these dating apps with random dudes than to quote-unquote settle with a man who is shorter than them or who makes less money than them or whatever the case may be. There's always these invisible things, guys, that women will never say that they want unless they're like intoxicated on street interviews, okay, that they're not going to do away with, right? But okay, according to this woman's advice, now we're not focusing on the dude's looks, we're focusing on how he makes you feel. Little does this woman realize that how you feel changes moment to moment. Okay, you could hell, so many of these women, guys, they wake up the next day and they behave like a completely different person and they feel completely different. You mean to tell me that a man is supposed to give you any type of consistent feeling? It's not possible. It's absolutely not possible. Feelings, by their definition, especially in women who are over the age of 30 and still dating, are anything but consistent.
And that starts right at the beginning of when you match or, you know, in the first interactions. How does it make you feel in the beginning? Does he put a smile on your face? Is he polite? Is he positive? Does he make you smile and laugh? Then when you've been dating a few days, does he make you feel understood, cared for, respected? Does he make you feel safe? Like, that is one of the biggest priorities. If you don't feel safe, you won't be open to being vulnerable. And if you are not open to being vulnerable, it makes you unattractive.
I want you guys to notice that all of the qualities that she just went on to list there, by the way, are kind of like provider qualities, okay? We don't want the brooding, attractive guy anymore. What we want now is we want the man who's polite and makes her feel understood. And, you know, who's, next thing you know, guys, she'll be saying things like generous, okay, ambitious, all of these things that indicate that he's just going to be essentially a paycheck, right? She uses the word safe there. Does he have a house? Does he have property? Right, guys? Like, women get to the age of 30 plus, and then they like to think that they're super enlightened and they have this epiphany. But all that it really is they realize that, you know, somebody has to pay the bills, so they need some guy to provide for them. So they start like listing these characteristics and these qualities that make a man a good provider. Let me tell you something, guys. If you're very attractive to the woman, you don't need to make her laugh, okay? All of this crap of like, oh yeah, this man, he has to be super, you know, super charming, and he has to be super funny, and he has to make me smile. Let me tell you something, guys. If you're an attractive man to that particular woman, she will laugh at jokes that are not funny. Okay, she will make herself feel the things that she wants. You don't even have to be these things. You could be the most unfunny guy, but if you're highly attractive to the woman, she will find you hilarious. That's just the way it works. It's the same thing when you approach women, guys. A man who's attractive will be confident and, you know, whatever the case may be. But if a guy is unattractive, then he'll come across as creepy, right? People know this, but they just don't want to say it.
To the good guys, anyway. The ones looking for commitment, looking for the wives, looking for the one. Start looking for different things. And tip number 3, which is going to be controversial, and it's going to piss some people off, and I don't care. How tight is this man? Does he pay for dates? Or are you dating the men that, you know, want to go Dutch, who are splitting the bill?
There you go, right? It's not about finding love, guys. It is about finding a retirement plan. Now, let me just say this, okay? I don't have anything against traditional behaviors of men paying for dates, okay? But I don't think men should be being traditional for women who are not traditional. Therein lies the trade. If you want me to pay for a date for some woman who has herself, you know, who's posting herself all over Instagram, no, it's not happening. If you want me to pay the bill for some woman who's dating over the age of 30, why are you dating over the age of 30? Like, women want this traditional crap, guys, but they're not traditional themselves. Again, I have nothing against traditional behaviors, but it's always expected from the men. It is never expected from the women, which to me is not a fair trade, and I don't think men should be doing it.
Tightness isn't just about money. It's a sign of just... Ugh. Okay, so put it this way. In the wild, right, we have dating rituals. Birds puff their feathers, peacocks have a big tail, deers fight with the horns. Like, there is so many different types of animals that have dating rituals. And in the human ritual, men should want to show that they are capable of providing. It's just in the DNA, okay?
All right, then women should show that they're capable of not being with a whole bunch of different random dudes. Women should bring their youth to the table. They should bring femininity to the table. But we won't talk about that, right? We'll talk about how men need to provide, but we don't talk about what the women need to provide in the relationship, do we, guys? We just skip over that crap entirely, right? Women, notice how women will bring up this biology argument, but they never bring it up from the other side. It's always what the men have to provide to her. Absolutely hilarious stuff, guys. Because again, right, you know, I could go on TikTok, I could say the same thing as this woman, but flip it around and say the man's version. You know, women need to provide this in the relationship and they need to do that. And like, I start listing traditional things. And you know what will happen if I do that when I'm posting over on TikTok, guys? I'll get banned. I will have so many womanists in my comments. Hell, probably you don't even need to be reported, honestly. Let's be honest about the TikTok application. But my account will be instantly banned. But it's all very well and good when we expect everything from the men.
Don't call me out. It's what the science says. When I look back, the ones that were tight with the money were also tight with their emotions. They weren't willing to be open. And if you'd like more tips...
Yeah, more tips, guys, from the women who are 30 plus years of age, still single, still dating. Wait, no, this woman, I believe she has attracted her Prince Charming. I don't know. We'll see how long that lasts. We'll see how long this man puts up with this woman for. But guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there, and wowee, isn't it an absolute, you know, it's an enigma why these women are struggling with dating. But guys, we're going to be leaving it there. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new here, and I will be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.